Denny, how you doing, man?
What's that? What's that perfume?
Yeah. Flawless impression, I think, as always.
Amazing. I mean, it's either Professor Lazarus or Gillian Anderson's Margaret Thatcher. I mean, there's no sort of in between.
Yeah, or a flawless impersonation of the real-life Margaret Thatcher. Who knows?
True. Maggie's in the mud. But here we are. We've finished Rick and Morty. We were on hiatus for a while, and we're back to a regularly scheduled program, which translates to having nothing else to talk about. So we're just going to do Doctor Who until we find another TV show to rant about endlessly, and it is Doctor Who Series 3, Episode 7, The Lazarus Experiment. You can see I'm thrilled with the title that they've went for this.
I mean, it's an all right. It's all right. It's accurate, I suppose.
Well, yeah, but why it's accurate infuriates me. But we'll get into that.
It's the Bible, right?
Well, I know that Lazarus was a person who could come back from the dead. Oh shit! Let me Google it. Where's my phone? Lazarus. Is it the Bible?
I've got no idea. I've always thought it was, but it might not be. Who knows?
Lazarus. Who's Lazarus? Lazarus of Bethany. Yep, it's a Bible thing. Saint Lazarus, or Lazarus of the 4 days, venerated in Eastern Orthodox Church as righteous Lazarus, and Jesus restores him to life. So there you go. Amazing.
Well, lovely stuff.
Yeah.
Good for Jesus.
It's a gold star from Jesus. This episode was written by Stephen Greenhorn and directed by Richard Clarke, and is starring David Tennant, Freema Agyeman, Mark Gatiss, and some other people.
Indeed it does. Have you got an opening statement?
I do, yes. An interesting episode about the fleetingness of life and obsession over everlasting life. Does immortality seem all that appealing if you turn into a fucking scorpion? Probably not.
Immortality isn't really that appealing anyway. Like, immortality with the clause that I can kill myself. I think that would be
Yeah,
because it's always like, oh, I wish for eternal life, and then you just become a pile of dust that's sentient. Because you're just that old. Do you know what I mean?
Like the Daleks and the sewers in that later episode. It's like Daleks can't die.
Danny's favourite episode of Doctor Who, yes.
Yeah, and they just become fucking sewers. What the fuck? I mean, they can die. We've seen them die. Missy's like, genetically hardwired to keep on living, whatever happens. Well, not whatever happens, because we've seen them blow up. Unless all the Daleks that were destroyed in the Crucible in Season 4 are somehow still alive. They're just individual cells going, ah! You know? But there you go. But
it did make me laugh when she flicked the wall with the stick and it screamed.
Yeah.
What? Because Daleks don't have an identifiable mouth, but they've always sort of spoken and moved as though they can breathe. So it's always a bit... Is there a mouth in the sewer somewhere?
Yeah.
Or do they just exude noise mysteriously?
There's one mouth in the sewer, just like a really sassy Dalek. Like, what are you looking at? Like that, you know? Like
It's just like a hive mind control of the mouth.
Yeah, but what one mouth is like, what's his name? Mickey Flanagan? Is that his name?
The comedian?
The comedian with the long hair. Like, all the Daleks are just screaming in pain, and there's just this one mouth. It's just like Mickey Flanagan as a Dalek.
What a specific reference to give.
Yeah.
I don't think I've thought about Mickey Flanagan ever. I don't think.
Well, I'm happy to help you out, Lewis. You know, to broaden your horizons. But let's talk about this episode before we go into contemporary British comedy.
Indeed.
The start of the trend where companions nearly leave halfway through the season.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
Yeah, it happened
It's
to
a bit of an annoying trend, really. I think.
Yeah, like they pretend that it's over now, and then you know, they nearly die, their entire family dies, or nearly dies, and then they're like, yeah, let's keep going. Because that's the logical response of anyone.
I know.
Set with cosmic danger, but you know, what about you? What about you? You got any stuff? Got any?
Right. What do we think of Mark Gatiss or Gatiss? I'd never know which one it is. Because I'm going to say something now, and it's going to make me sound like the most conceited, arrogant twat that's ever walked the earth.
Lewis,
but
if you're ever wanting a job with Mark Gatiss, you better be fucking careful the next words that come out of your mouth, pal.
I've never known what to think of his work, because I always enjoy watching his performances. I always think he gives good performances. I'm not 100% convinced by his writing skills. He's certainly good, but is he great? A lot of people out there sort of worship him in the same way people worship Stephen Moffat, and I've never quite been sure if he's that good. I'm always a bit undecided on what to think about Mark Gatiss, and that's why I wanted to bring him up, because I wanted to know your opinion on Mark Gatiss.
Well, Mark Gatiss seems to be a one-trick pony when it comes to acting.
Okay.
I mean, please prove me wrong, because he is a great actor, but he seems to play a sort of middle-aged, upper-class man in everything that he does, you know?
Yeah, I think you might be right with that one.
You've got Lazarus, you've got Mycroft, you've got Dracula's lawyer, you've got
Renfield.
What else? The brigadier that he plays in the Christmas special with Peter Capaldi, that they just had to link to fucking Lethbridge Stewart, because God's sake, it couldn't just be a random.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so weird.
I'm looking at this now. I think you're right. It was in Good Omens, apparently.
Oh,
I don't remember him from that.
He either played a posh demon or a posh angel.
He played Mr. Harmony.
Oh, angel.
I'm not entirely sure what that means.
I bet that's an angel.
It sounds like an angel, doesn't it? Did you be in Doctor Who? Oh.
He's been in Doctor Who?
Yes, he has.
Whoa!
The only example I can give you as something else he's done is in Doctor Who he played Gantok in that one where Matt Smith wore that green coat and he was playing electric chess. Yeah, that's the only example I can give you.
He did a Russian accent.
All these other things are all names that make me think of a character like Mycroft, Prince Regent, Tycho Nestoris, Professor Quentin Quester, Lord Robert Cecil, Ronald Hall. These are all names that all sound like the same person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, it's interesting you say Gantok, because I didn't realise that was Mark Gatiss until years later.
I certainly think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of trivia I picked up along the way, as you do. Yeah, this guy who wears the eye patch because he's affiliated with the Silence, and he's all the prosthetics and everything.
Fucking Silence, Jesus! I
cannot
wait.
The question is asked.
I cannot wait to talk about that fucking organisation. But yeah, long story short, Mark Gatiss he's good. He's a good actor. But he just sort of, he's very niche. You know, he knows what he's good at. And he's good at being a creepy old man in this.
That's true, he is good at being a creepy old man.
Yeah, I did believe it. I was like, wow, what a creepy fuck Mark Gatiss is. I'm joking, Mark. Come on now.
No, he's fired you already. This is in the future now. When you've got a job working with Mark Gatiss, and then he's listened to this and gone, "Oh, Danny, did you really say this?" And then he's fired you already.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to fire us, Lewis, in the future if they ever hear this podcast.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Knowing what we know now, why did the Master put the Doctor onto this exactly?
Oh God.
Was it to kill him?
Something about it wasn't. It can't have been to kill him, could it? Because that was part of the humiliation of having him on the Valiant. Is that it's like all these things you've been looking at, they're all been happening around you, and you haven't quite connected all the dots, and it was part of the humiliation. So it was something to enhance his eventual humiliation, I suppose. I really couldn't even begin to conceive of it.
Yeah, it's sort of like Spectre, you know. Like, for some reason, all the bad shit that's happened to you is because of me, but I don't have a logical reason as to why I wanted those bad things to happen. It's like, even in
Somehow, Palpatine
Sherlock
has returned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow Palpatine returned. What? Who?
Yeah.
But like in Sherlock, like every fucking case that Sherlock solves is connected to like Moriarty. Like he's like Moriarty. Like, it's just couldn't be more obvious. But it's like, well, why? Why is everything connected to this one big bad? Unless they're like, it really annoys me when they do that. You know. I've got a bit of a stuffy nose. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I'll just complain at great length after we've finished this. I'll wait till Chloe gets home and say, "Oh God, Danny was like a really stuffy nose. It was really disgusting, and I hated it." Yeah,
Lewis then goes on a 2-hour rant. It's like, God, I hate the sick. Just goes on a rampage. They're stuffy nosed bastards.
Go on.
Oh no, sorry, bud. On you go.
I enjoy the aesthetic of the machine. I think that was very sort of. I struggle a bit with how sort of CGI and practical effects sometimes are and are not linked. I quite liked the combination here. I liked watching the machine spin around in a bit of a. It's. I imagine it would be very tempting to just make a box that glows, but this looks dangerous, and it's quite tempting to sort of. Not tempting. It's quite nice to see something that looks a bit weird in a pleasant way.
Yeah.
It's like, in a strange way, Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus tentacles.
Yes.
They were a combination of practical effects and computer graphics.
That's
so
right.
they looked really good in sort of for the final cut.
Yeah.
I'm sure now they'll be entirely CGI. I've got no idea, but I quite liked that this was. I feel like they actually did build a ridiculous-looking thing.
Yeah.
And it might even be in the Doctor Who Museum in Cardiff. I've got no idea.
Do you know what would have made it even better?
What's that?
If there were Tesla coils.
Do you like a good Tesla coil?
I fucking love Tesla coils. Like, especially in stuff where it wouldn't even make sense for Tesla coils to be there, you know? I just love them. I think they look so cool. But yeah, I suppose for early 2000s it makes sense that it looks like a sort of fridge that you see in B&Q that you're going to buy, you know?
Does it? It looks more like a shower cubicle to me. In
Yeah.
fact, I really bought a shower cubicle and just stuck some bits of PVC on it.
Yeah. But did you ever do that in B&Q? Did you ever used to go around the sort of already built sort of layouts of bathrooms and stuff? I used to fucking love that. So we're going to B&Q.
Me too, yeah.
Yes! Like, that's... I used to go to B&Q instead of the park. Like, I was
The best part of B&Q, and I will take zero criticism on this, is the bit where they keep all the lights. You go in and you're sort of blinded by all this amazing spectacle of lamps and stuff around you, and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. I love it so much.
Do you want to know another great bit of B&Q that I used to really love?
Love to.
Not knowing where the toilet was. Like, because there would be huge sort of shelves of stuff, and you'd be looking for the small gap where the door would be to the toilet, and it was like a fun game that I used to play. I was like, see who finds the toilet first, because you couldn't see it, because it was like just shelves and shelves of stuff, and there would just be this tiny rectangle sort of opening where the toilet would be, and I'm like, yes, I found it, you bastard.
I feel like you have some kind of hidden trauma about B&Q toilets.
Probably.
Like, you're very...
Probably.
I barely even... I don't think I've ever been to the loo in a B&Q. I must have been, but I don't remember. I don't think it was ever such a big thing. I tell you what was a big thing at B&Q, bizarrely, was the gingerbread men. Our B&Q had a little cafe in it, and whenever we went to B&Q when I was a kid, I would get a little gingerbread man. That was good.
That is good. I used to always ask to go to the cafe, but it's like, no, we've got that at home. It's like, no, we don't. We've got hula hoops at home. That's about it. If I become really rich one day, right, as well as pushing for the long-term goal of socialism, I will buy a B&Q and people can go in and play hide and seek for free in B&Q. That's what I want to do. Like, we'll keep everything there. We'll maybe get rid of all the tools in case anyone hurts themselves, right? But we'll have empty boxes that people can hide in, and you can just play hide and seek in B&Q all day. I would love that.
I see. I think I understand what you're saying, but I would rather do it in an IKEA.
Oh, I've got a hard pass. I've got to pass that one.
Oh, you're not a fan of IKEA?
I am. I love the meatballs. It's just in terms of like where I would rather play hide and seek. I'd rather do it in B&Q.
I love a good IKEA because it's like stepping into another dimension. You go through the front door and that enormous escalator that's somehow in every single IKEA in the world.
Yeah.
And then you walk like through this bizarre alternate reality, and you're like, for each half a second that you walk past like a tenth of an apartment, you're like, oh, that would be what my apartment would be like if, and you construct a theoretical scenario in your head. You're like, oh, that would be my apartment if I was like Peter Parker in 2006 New York.
Yeah.
That's what my apartment would look like. And then you go to the next door and he's like, oh, that's what my apartment would be like if I was some kind of prince that was trying to become more one with his subjects, so he got an apartment in the city centre. And then you keep going along this row, and do you know what I mean? That's what I always get at IKEA. And then you get to the end and you get a dime bar cake, which is somehow the best thing ever.
True. Well, fine. We'll have an IKEA, a B&Q, and a home base next to each other that you can all go into.
I've never been to a home base. Are they worth the trip?
I mean,
is it a nice day out?
It's not as good as B&Q, but you know, we're not sponsored by B&Q, folks, or IKEA, or Homebase. You know, I bet you're thinking, well, why would you be sponsored by Homebase if you're bashing them and saying that B&Q is better? Because we like to mix up the way we advertise things, you know. Because you think that B&Q is better, reverse psychology will tell you to go to Homebase. So that's how that works.
Yep, 100%.
But anyway, I like the symmetry between Lazarus and the Doctor, and
okay,
the Doctor's on his high horse about, you know, oh, don't be killing people, when the Doctor has taken more lives than anyone in that room, which is it's interesting, you know. But and yet he knows that living that long just brings death and tiredness. So I like that. What else? Oh yeah.
Yeah, go on.
The crux of my hatred for this episode.
Oh, right, okay. I thought you were mostly neutral. Do you have a deep-founded hatred for it?
I do, yeah. The name Lazarus.
Okay.
It is beyond on the fucking nose.
It is a bit, yeah.
Lazarus. You may as well have been called Professor Not Dead Man. Legit, it's so obvious. Oh my god, it actually sickens me how obvious it is. The Lazarus Experiment. Oh, what's that about? It's about a guy that has made a machine to make cookies. There is no doubt in anyone's mind about what that is. And if that was the experiment's name on its own, that would be fine. But that's the guy's legal name. He's actually called Professor It's not a superhero name. It's on his birth certificate. It says Professor fucking Lazarus. It is so weird. You know, I hate that. I hate when it's so obvious. You know? It gets my...
I see. I didn't realise you were quite so furious about this.
Oh.
I think it's alright. It's not terrible.
Lazarus.
I suppose you have to make the presumption that in this world, the story of Lazarus doesn't exist.
Yeah, true.
Otherwise, because if you were actually called Lazarus, you'd go around and people would tell you the story of Lazarus at every opportunity. So you probably would change your name. I would certainly change my name from Lazarus to something more nondescript, like Brindley. That's very nondescript. Yeah, I don't think I would pick Lazarus as a name, unless you did. Maybe he's just a massive egotist.
Yeah, but churches exist. So
churches do exist.
So therefore the Bible must exist.
Maybe in like the early days of the Bible when it was written, the Lazarus was massively cut out of the stories for
Wow.
some reason. I have no idea why.
You're being so charitable. It's like, well, maybe Lazarus, the story of Lazarus didn't exist. It's just a made-up name.
I've just learned a little bit something about the genetic manipulation device.
Go on.
It was a redecorated descent capsule from The Impossible Planet.
That's what I was thinking about. I was literally thinking as you said it, looking at it, because I've got the toy of that like in my room, the big descent capsule. And
very cool.
And it makes sense, because now that I think about it, it does look like it. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realise IMDb has a trivia subsection, but it turns out it does.
I thought you
Professor
had to
Lazarus
pay for
was
it.
originally... no, you don't. Oh, I'm certainly not, and I'm here. Professor Lazarus was working on developing invulnerable synthetic skin. This was dropped because Russell T Davies feared it might be part of the plot of Spider-Man 3, which was due for release around the same time the episode would air.
Oh, that's a good, yeah. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
Yeah. I have a potentially hot take, right?
Hit it.
Okay, so there's a show called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right? And because the characters are so horrible, right? They have a theory about people being creepy.
Right.
And that creepiness isn't measured by, like, socioeconomic stuff and gender and stuff like that. It's measured by ugliness.
Okay.
So, if a guy is like being creepy to a girl, like they show this picture of this conventionally attractive guy who says these like creepy things to a girl, and like asks what perfume she has while grabbing her hand, and she says it's soap, right? And then it's like, doesn't seem too creepy, does it? And then they show like an ugly guy, and then everyone's like, oh, yuck, like that. Do you think that theory has any water whatsoever?
I think that it is entirely subjective to the person being creeped upon.
Yeah.
It's similar to the old sort of medical adage. Pain exists when and where the patient says it does.
Yeah.
If literally anybody says to literally anybody else, your perfume's really nice, but what is it? It depends entirely upon what the person that is receiving those words thinks. It doesn't matter what the sayer looks like. It matters like what the person feels upon hearing those words. Am I making sense?
Yeah. I don't mean like only... I don't... like, because they go even further and they say ugly people should be quiet and stay in their lane because they're really horrible, right? But
Right.
I'm not saying that ugly people, whatever that even means, should be like, whoa, calm down with the asking what perfume people have, you know? I'm just saying, do you think people in general maybe have a sort of proclivity to sort of care about the attractiveness of someone saying that to them? Because even in this episode, Letitia is clearly uncomfortable by Mr. Professor Lazarus's advances when he's old, and then when he becomes younger, she's like interested, if you know what I mean. And she's like, she even says, I was going to snog him. Might be a bit creepy, but it works for Letitia, you know.
I know what you're saying. I would say that yes and no. I don't think it's a conscious bias. I think it's more of a subconscious bias that people have, in that I think I'm completely guessing. I am not an anthropologist.
Yeah.
But I'm not an anthropologist, but
I'm not an expert, but here we go, giving an expert take.
I think it might be some kind of evolutionary thing to do with... because obviously ugliness and prettiness is subjective as well.
Yeah.
So I would guess it might be some kind of an evolutionary thing that you're attracted to people that do not look like your relatives.
Yes.
Because that's like an evolutionary thing to prevent sort of inbreeding and whatever. So I think maybe it's something along those lines. I think I would go down saying that would be some kind of a unconscious bias that people have. I would also say that the other bias people have is an emotional bias towards people. Like, if you go up to somebody and you're sort of endearingly, or you are yourself in terms of your demeanour, you are charming or endearing, and you say, "I'm really sorry, can I use your phone?" They might say yes. I mean, perhaps not nowadays, because my phone is literally everything. It has my bank details, and if somebody's like ran off with it, that's catastrophic. But you see the point I'm getting at. If somebody walked up to me and was sort of charming, I would be more inclined to speak with them. I think it's more of it's the vibe. is what I'm boiling it down to. It's the vibe of what a person looks like and what a person is behaving like. Does that make sense?
Yes, I totally get you.
So that's my hot expert take. You've heard it here first, folk. Dr. Lewis Brindley, Doctor of Anthropology, has released his my dissertation on the way that subconscious bias works.
Yeah, only professionals here. Okay, only experts here. I'm struggling to come out with more notes.
As am I.
Why do you think the Master chose the name Mr. Saxon?
Because I would imagine it plays well with British audiences. Saxon it's reminiscent, because I think Saxon is
Anglo-Saxon.
Anglo-Saxon is what people will think of, and then Anglo-Saxon is, oh well, he's from England, he's British. It's something that's from the homeland and all this sort of nonsense. So I'd imagine that's why he picked it. It's a PR move.
Yeah, I mean, he also has a thingy with Anne Widdecombe as well, I guess.
Oof, yeah, of all people in the world.
So yeah, do you think Anne Widdecombe knew what was going on when she made that sort of what is it they call it? Pop?
A vox pop.
Vox pop. Love that word. Do you think they knew that it was for Doctor Who? Or do you think...
Yes, I do think she knew it was for Doctor Who.
I think Mr. Saxon was a very fine man. Do you think they just went up to her and went, right, okay, Anne, this guy's a Nazi, right? So just tell us what you think about him. And he's a very fine man.
I mean, I'm more familiar with Anne Widdecombe's take on the Catholic Church. I'm not familiar with her take on Nazis.
No, she's not a Nazi, I don't think. I was being hyperbolic. But she's still a shitbag. There's no denying that. She doesn't like gay people very much. So, but yeah, you can tell I'm definitely out of notes now, because we're talking about Anne Widdecombe.
Ranting on about Anne Widdecombe.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm also out of notes. I've got a cheeky opening statement, a closing statement.
Go on then.
I've got an opening statement. Let's do it all over again. In spite of its many flaws, which I am painfully aware of, I kind of enjoy this episode. It's a fun episode to be along for the ride of. I do quite enjoy being present for it.
Same. My closing statement is, seriously, Lazarus? Fucking Lazarus? Really? I'm never gonna get over that. I can't let it go, Lewis.
I see.
But yeah, so yeah, that was the Lazarus Experiment. It was a good experiment, Prof. We're done. Jesus Christ. So shall we move to Incredible Capitalist Shilling? And
yeah, let's do a cheeky bit of shilling.
Should we do a Lazarus and bring that back to life? Yeah, so we all have Linktrees, if you didn't know. Lewis's Linktree is linktr.ee/Lewis_Brindley. Mine's is /O'Hiram. And the podcast is /Shouting Into the Void. There you will find our socials, our Facebook, our Instagram, our YouTube. So go and have a look. Subscribe, like, and all that. You'll enjoy yourself. We have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all, would be greatly appreciated. We also have a Patreon, and we want to take the opportunity, as we do every week, to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Natalie.
Thank you.
And Dougie.
Thank you, one and all. You do certainly make the podcast wheels turn, and we really do appreciate that. So thank you very much for your ongoing support.
Absolutely. We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. We sell tote bags, socks, mugs, stickers, jumpers, t-shirts, all sorts of stuff. Go have a look. Get yourself something nice. Christmas is just coming. It's round the corner. Or maybe get yourself a jumper, and you can go as a dedicated, loyal fan of the show for Halloween. So yeah, and last but certainly not least, we are partnered with an amazing company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed I am. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife, in which she crochets, and she's very, very good at it. And if you would like to check out what they're doing, you can go to Number 12 Crochet Avenue on Instagram, and you can take a look at everything over there. So get some good stuff on your Instagram feed, some bellissimo content, and you can see what the apps are.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
But well, that was the Lazarus Experiment. So thank you so much for listening. I believe the next episode finally is 42. I've been getting it wrong 42 times. And yeah, any parting words, Lewis? Any words of wisdom?
No, none.
Well, that's great. Well, we'll see you. See you later then. Have a nice week, and we love you.
Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.